Ann Sarnoff goes low, Zack Snyder goes high. Ann Sarnoff says, F the fans. Zack Snyder embraces the fans. We are talking the continuing war to restore the Snyderverse on the Best Damn Nerd Show. And welcome to the Best Damn Nerd Show, everyone. I am, of course, the microphone alchemist, James Kincaid. Welcome on back, Nerdosphere. And today, yet again, we are going to be talking about hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder, he did an interview on Beyond the Trailer with Grace Randolph. It was very good. Zack Snyder comes off smelling like a rose, such a likable guy, and just doubling down, firmly embracing the fan base that has sort of led to all of this success for him, him getting back the ability to even do Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he stands diametrically opposed to Ann Sarnoff and Warner Media and just all of their sort of mismanagement, borderline nefarious activities, I would say, in terms of what they are doing in regard to all of these DCEU projects. And, borrow from Christopher Davis. Do you like money, Ann? Well, she certainly doesn't like the fans, but Zack Snyder sort of stands in direct contrast to that piece that she did in Variety. And so I want to play a clip from Zack's interview on Beyond the Trailer with Grace Randolph, because he really had some interesting comments to say when it came to restore the Snyderverse and proactive fans. The question was sort of what positives do you see with proactive fans that maybe some people in Hollywood are missing? And it was an interesting answer. So here we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know like what the negative of proactive fans is. I guess if you were on the other side of the proactiveness, you might not be into it. But
who could that be?
For me, and as far as I'm concerned, the fans are the ones, or a lot of them are the ones that buy the tickets and support the film, and through their tweeting and conversations online and vlogging and YouTube videos and every single thing they do, create awareness about these IPs and about these products and about these movies, and really are their own sort of priceless marketing aspect of the film. And really, I used to say, and I believe this to some extent, but I think it's changed a little bit. Like, there was a time when a lot of the sort of genre press around Comic-Con and sort of the comic book genre, they kind of were the gatekeepers, the Ain't It Cool Newses of this world.
Yes.
Used to kind of be the gatekeepers of what is perceived as genre success, and or to be blessed, to have the project be blessed by these guys was always like this important thing that you had to have happen. Where I think now it's shifted to, it's really the fan community, because the voices are just as loud and as enthusiastic, and like what these fans are able to accomplish. I mean, I've said it before, and I'm never going to stop beating the drum of what these fans were able to accomplish just for suicide prevention and mental health awareness, and the amount of money they've raised and continue to raise every day. And these people are saving lives, and this money is saving lives, and that's just a fact. And so, it's hard for me to understand what the downside of that could be. It's
no, I agree. It just,
frankly,
as you said, on multiple.
All right. So yeah, some very interesting comments from Zack Snyder talking about doesn't see a negative to proactive fans. The question was, what positives do you see? And his answer was, just loud and clear that he doesn't see any negatives to sort of counteract, and talking about the fact that, their engagement is free marketing, priceless marketing and stuff like that. And then having your fan base involved is good for these properties and things of that nature. And really, talking about the amount of money that was raised because of this movement for suicide prevention, $500,000, and still raising money, and said that, There's absolutely no negative that they have saved lives and that's a fact. And he's not going to apologize for that. Sort of stark contrast to maybe what he felt like was forced to say earlier on that Geeks and Gamers stream. But I thought that was taken sort of out of context and conflated. And this, I think, is sort of a validation of that, a doubling down of the fact that he is very supportive of the fans. He's going directly to the fans, even in doing an interview like that, and continually just showing them the love and the endorsement and the appreciation for everything they've done. But yes, Zack Snyder going out of his way to point out the fact that it is the fan base that raised all this money for suicide prevention, doing all these positive things, saving lives. Juxtapose that with Ann Sarnoff in Variety. And I'm going to read the question here because I think it's important for context, because it was a puff piece in Variety. There's also been a toxic side to the fandom, with reports that critics and some of your executives have received threats for not endorsing the Snyder Cut or for being perceived as standing in the way of its release. What is your reaction to that behavior? And again, this is Ann Sarnoff not doing what Zack Snyder did, which is, sort of putting over the positive aspect of the fans, or, with a question like this, saying that is just a maybe an extreme vocal, minority. But no, she says, we're not tolerating any of that. That behavior is reprehensible no matter what franchise you're talking about or what business you're talking about. It's completely unacceptable. I'm very disappointed in the fans that have chosen to go to that negative place with regard to DC, with regard to some of our executives. It's just disappointing because we want this to be a safe place to be. Unlike Zack Snyder, Ann Sarnoff took to Variety and rips the fans. Look, we're not endorsing any sort of threats or anything like that. It's a movie. Nothing is worth that. But the fact that she didn't have the presence of mind to, say, look, we love our fans. This is, a vocal minority. This is not representative of what the fandom is. All fandoms have that ugly side to them. That's just the nature of the internet and the world that we're living in. But I do think it is interesting where Zack Snyder can point out to the fact that his fans, his Snyderverse fans, have raised $500,000 for suicide prevention. And Sarnoff doesn't go out of her way to mention any of that, but rather she chooses to sort of hammer home that she is just disgusted with this reprehensible fan behavior, I think is very telling about how she views us, the fans. Ann Sarnoff says, F the fans. Zack Snyder is embracing us and thanking us. And I don't see it being a winning end game, so to speak, for Ann Sarnoff. And I do also think that what Zach was saying, talking about, the Ain't It Cool news, the sort of the genre media, as it were, as it used to be for nerd culture and comic book movies and stuff like that. Think, Dwight from The Office in that Comic-Con episode of Entourage, where they needed to get a good review out of him for Aquaman. He's right. It did used to be that way, but it's changing. And, Jon Favreau saw that it was changing when he started coming to Comic-Con, and, him and Hall H talking when he was doing Cowboys and Aliens, and they said they didn't have any footage for him. He said, you don't understand. We need to have footage to show the fans. It started changing then. Zack Snyder is realizing it's changing even more now. And I think that's part of the issue, is that it is cutting out the traditional sort of gatekeepers that, the studios have under their thumb, and they know how to navigate those channels. It's more formulaic. There's procedures. This sort of fan-based community outreach and marketing stuff like that, it's unpredictable. It's, it's more, it's just more Wild West style, but Zack Snyder is tapping in to that community. And I think that bothers the Ann Sarnoffs of the world. I think that bothers the more traditionalist studio heads, that they really don't know how to control that messaging and that marketing. And Zack Snyder figuring out an end around from how things used to be done is frightening to them. So I think that's part of this whole restore the Snyderverse war as well. And I think Ann Sarnoff regrets day by day sort of allowing, to whatever part she allowed, the Snyder Cut to even happen, because it continues to take on a life of its own. She's losing ground. Zack Snyder and the Restore the Snyderverse movement seems to be gaining ground more and more every day. You see stories about, Henry Cavill maybe making an appearance in the Black Adam movie with The Rock. The Rock obviously endorsing the Snyderverse and things like that. It doesn't feel like Ann is winning this war. And it's just, it continues to be this maelstrom, this never ending story that I do believe finally will, AT&T and the heads of that, will come in and be like, look, we're going to be doing the Snyderverse. I really do think that we're going to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. And so as the tide continues to churn in favor of Zack Snyder and the Restore the Snyderverse movement, I just really do believe that we are going to see his continued and completed vision for these Justice League movies, and hopefully all the other stuff that DC wants to put out as well. I've never viewed this movement as being the restrictive force. If anything, I think the Snyderverse is the one where all of these great DC properties can spring out of and continue to thrive in. But cutting off the head of what they have built has always just seemed like the wrong move to me. Thanks so much for watching this far, Nerdosphere. Be sure to like and subscribe. Get in on the conversation yourself on our Discord, bestdamnerdshow.com/Discord. Or if you're feeling generous, bestdamnerdshow.com/Patreon. We appreciate all the support. And remember, if you're a nerd, keep saying it loud and saying it proud.